Yeah. And I think that's the huge thing that I just keep wanting people to hear is just like, give yourself permission to be human. Give
Yes.
yourself permission to be human. Stop worrying about what people might think or say. If those people are just random people in a like yoga studio, who cares? Who cares
Right.
what they think? You want to sit there for an hour feeling like you're about to be attacked by a bear just because the lady next to you is like, oh, I just want to be zen. Screw her. Get out of there. And it's just giving yourself permission to be who you are and know that you're not broken. You
Right.
just might need to run your life a little bit different from the lady next to you in their yoga pants.
Welcome to the Medical Trauma Support Podcast, the show where we shine a light on the hidden impacts of medical trauma, explore tools for healing, and empower you to take control of your health journey. I'm Sarah, your host, a passionate advocate for trauma-informed care, somatic healing, and compassionate conversations. I'll bring you expert insights, healing strategies, and personal stories of resilience to help you feel seen, heard, and supported on your path to recovery. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Medical Trauma Support Podcast. Today, I have Kim Black here with me. Hi, Kim.
Hey guys.
Kim is the founder of Scarred and Fabulous, and she's doing amazing work out in the world, spreading awareness about medical trauma and helping people in their healing journeys. And so, Kim and I have talked a couple of times, and I've been super excited to have her on the podcast. So, I'm really glad you're here.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
Yeah. But I thought, that was a very short little intro for you. And so I wanted to open up the space for you to tell the audience a little bit more about what Scarred and Fabulous is. And then I'm hoping you'll tell us a little bit about your story that brought you to create it.
Yeah, of course. So, Scarred and Fabulous is a platform with courses and resources for women to emotionally heal after major trauma from surgery and medical experiences. That's probably the easiest way to say it. And the reason that I'm doing that is because basically I didn't have those resources. So my medical trauma history started when I was just a child. I was in surgery for major hip dysplasia, realignment surgery when I was 4 years old. So the doctors put me through a lot of different types of operations. I was actually hung upside down for about a month as my hips were actually further up my body than the sockets. So they put me up on a rack and pulled me like this upside down for a month to pull my legs back into that where the sockets were. And then I had both my legs broken and then pinned back into place. But obviously, when you experience that kind of thing when you're only 4 years old, you can't really comprehend what's going on.
Right.
So my conscious memories of it are actually very pleasant. Like the child wards was very good. I remember my nurses being very nice. But then the more that I've had to come around and do this healing work, the more memories that are coming up, the more things that I've pushed down, the noises, the screams, that powerlessness and being prodded and everything, all of the horrible things that happens in hospital. And then as I grew up, I had horrendous mental health issues. But unfortunately, because nobody back in the hospital when I was younger even talked about medical trauma, even sort of said to my parents, hey, she's going through something incredibly adult, incredibly traumatic, something big. Her whole body is being cut open, moved about, and manipulated. Nobody even mentioned it. So I actually came out just thinking that, hey, life's tough, man. Everybody else is just dealing with it a lot better than me. When I was absolutely raging inside with the trauma that was left over by this. And the reason that now I help women like me is because it didn't stop there. My trauma and everything like that, my way of dealing with it manifested as me repeating terrible patterns that would put me back
Yeah.
into the hospital. And
Yeah.
every time I went back into the hospital, I would re-traumatize myself and I would
Mhm.
relive every part of that trauma. And
Yes.
it's not destroyed my body confidence and everything like that, but I lost a lot of my identity and my confidence and everything like that. And it's only recently from coming in and out of hospital that I'm like, hey, there is no emotional healing tools for this.
Right.
There is
Yeah.
absolutely nothing. We are given PTs, we're given doctors, and that's great. I think it's amazing that we can go in, get the surgery, and physically heal and get all of that help. But actually, the emotional trauma and that weight on you when you
Yes.
come out of surgery, I was, and I know that this is a very kind of like dramatic way of putting it, but you have to think of it as just like you've willingly given up your body for somebody to drug you, cut you open, remove or move things inside you, and then wake you up again. If that,
Yeah. I
that's,
want to pause there, Kim.
yeah.
I want to pause there because of the magnitude of what you just said. And honestly, I want to backtrack as well, but like what you just said, I think is so incredibly powerful because I think a lot of times we normalize, like, oh, well, you're just going in for a surgery. But it's a really significant thing. It is really significant. And the way you described it, I think, did such a good job of like almost creating like a visceral response in my body to that. And I think that that's really powerful. And I think that that's why we're here talking about this is because we want people to feel validated because it is a big deal. Even
Oh, yes,
if even if
100%.
you wake up and you're like, "Oh, everything went right. Everything went well. Everything went the way it was supposed to." We are acknowledging that that was a big deal for somebody, both for their body and their emotions, like their the whole part of them. So thank you for saying that. So that's why I wanted to pause there, and I want to know so much more about your story, but I also want to go back to a few other things you said that I really want to like people to hear and for people to pay attention to, and that was um that feeling of powerlessness that you
Yeah,
talked about.
yeah, 100%. And I didn't realize for a long time that that actually reflected into the rest of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because it's not just that moment of powerlessness, it's those body memories of powerlessness. And
Yeah.
it's, you know how possums kind of turn over and play dead?
Yes.
When your memory comes around and you're faced with this same kind of like obstacles or challenges or fear, your
Yeah.
body will just react in that way again and
Yes.
you'll just become powerless again and you can't function. For me, that's like every time I go into the hospital or have to go
Mhm.
into the hospital, I will either run away and cause myself so much more harm, choosing to live in pain rather than go to the hospital because I am that
Yes.
scared, or
Yes.
I will sit in the A&E or the doctors and just
Mhm.
disappear, because that's how my brain has been taught to deal with that, because I think I'm
Yes.
just going to be powerless.
Well, but I have to say, Kim, from a nervous system perspective, you've just like perfectly illustrated sympathetic charge and dorsal vagal using the polyvagal theory framework. So sympathetic charge is that fight or flight. And so avoidance, you're flying, right? You're gone. You're like, I'm out.
Mhm.
And we both know how common avoidance is when people have experienced like
Oh,
challenging
yeah.
medical things like avoidance of appointments, avoidance of medical care is so incredibly common. And it's because our nervous system is like, oh, I'm not going back. That was dangerous. Something
Yeah.
hard and scary happened, so I'm not going back. So it's just the nervous system responding as nervous systems do, right? To try to keep
Mhm.
us safe and alive. And then the other thing you described was that feeling of being like a possum who just plays dead. That is like the perfect description of dorsal vagal. So you've literally talked about two really common nervous system responses that we all have, right? We
Yeah.
all of our nervous systems can go up and down this ladder. Um, but oh gosh, like I feel like the possum is like the perfect way to describe it too. It's like, oh, okay, I'm
Yeah.
done. Yeah,
I think it's with that, I think it's was for me, it's having to relearn different stories. So that's
yeah,
what I've started teaching in my courses in the resource I'm doing, is just teaching women how to see that one is a conscious
hmm,
thought and one is an unconscious thought, and it's
yes,
reteaching your brain which one is true, because I
yeah,
consciously know that doctors are there to help me, but
right,
my inner child and my nervous system is wired to be like, they're going to hurt you, don't
hmm,
trust them, they're going to
yeah,
take away your body, your power, and everything like that. So
yeah,
for me right now, the most important thing is if I'm in pain, I have to actually sit down and really prepare myself and
hmm,
write down kind of like, okay, what is really going to happen if I go to the doctors?
hmm,
And that little bit of preparation has really helped me actually
yes,
get the help I need rather than limp around in pain, slowly becoming more and more and more disabled and in
yeah,
pain, and actually get the help I need. So that's been something that I've been trying to rewire my brain with.
yes,
It is slow progress, obviously, with as everything is with this healing, but it has
yes,
really helped me not spend months in pain and maybe just sort of a couple of days rather than
yeah,
just trying to hide. So it's
yeah.
been
I
really,
That emotional preparation is like such a crucial piece to
oh
this
yeah.
work and to healing when you've experienced medical trauma. I think that's really beautiful.
Mhm.
And I'm really glad you brought that up. And I wonder if you would talk a little bit more about that because I think I really want a lot of people to be aware of it. And I'm also happy to share my prep as well.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear how you do it.
Yeah, so it's something that I've kind of discovered from all the research that I've been doing, and also just sort of coming back to myself. I had a
Mhm.
wonderful interview with a lady yesterday, and we both kind of agreed that it's actually just becoming you need to become very self-aware and
Mhm.
coming back to yourself. And even if it's just 15-20 minutes in the morning to sit
Mhm.
and be like, okay, here I am, I am safe. And
Mhm.
literally just reminding yourself what is real in that moment.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you've got medical trauma is your rational brain and your emotional brain are completely unaligned. So my emotional brain is absolutely on high alert all the time and runs faster than my rational one.
Mhm.
So if I am in pain or if I need to go to the doctors, basically I just need to help that rational brain catch up and
Mhm.
overtake the emotional brain so that the emotional brain does not flood me with this fight or flight response, that I'm not panicking, that my body is not charged, that I can stay present.
Mhm.
And the preparation is really simple. It's just sitting down and being like, okay, what is the real situation right now? You are in
Mhm.
pain. Your leg is in pain. Okay, this is the situation right now. What is the worst, best, and most likely scenario if you go into the
Mhm.
hospital? So I just
Mhm.
write these down. It's basically having a little bit of a talk to your emotional brain, trying
Mhm.
to sort of be like, hey, buddy, we're okay. Look,
Mhm.
this is what's really going to happen. You can just stay calm. I actually think about my emotional brain as like a bit of a toddler because I
Mhm.
had these experiences when I was 4. So I try and
Yeah.
be very kind to it now and think, okay, that's my 4-year-old that's
Mhm.
just terrified. And
Yes.
if I do that, I'm much better at being kind to myself. Because I
Mhm.
think that's another side effect of medical trauma is that you are so wired to just be like, there's something wrong with you. You
Yes.
can't do this. Like, and
Yes.
we do go into this huge shame spiral and
Mhm.
self-hatred.
Yeah.
And if I visualize myself as a 4-year-old and talk to her like that and prepare before we go, it's so much easier to be kind to yourself and also just
Yeah.
defuse your emotional brain. It doesn't make
Mhm.
the fear completely go away, but I can walk into that hospital and stay present, actually be able to
Mhm.
talk to the doctors rather than just hold on to my seat like I'm going to be
Right.
powerless. And that's the significant thing, that you are more in control of the care you can get because you are present and you are there.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it actually makes you feel so much more proud of yourself to be
Mhm.
able to do that, because this is a huge problem. Everybody's just like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you need to have, like, some amazing, like, walk in there and you'll be fine." Actually, it's just staying present and being able to, like, talk to a doctor and get the help you need and be able to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you prepare before and you get in
Mhm.
front of that emotional brain. So that's what I've been doing the last couple of years, and it seems to be working so much better. And it's really good for me because I'm not coming out of the hospital being like,
Right.
and actually can remember what happened and advocate. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
how I prepare.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. And I loved that the visual of taking care of that sweet little 4-year-old version of yourself.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but it seems like when we can do that, we can be so much kinder to ourselves. And I do actually think it's that I do really think there is a little part of us that is coming up and is actually it is a younger part of us that really needs that love and care and what we
Yeah,
didn't get at that age, you know? It's
yeah,
like now you're giving that little 4-year-old you this opportunity to be listened to, this opportunity to start to process what
yeah.
that experience was that you didn't get when you really needed it, but you can do it now. I think
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
beautiful.
And I think that's a really important thing for your listeners if they have had the same kind of experience as me. I spent a lot of years just being like, shut up, leave me alone, trying to force her out, being like, you were in the
Yeah.
past. I don't need you anymore. You were causing havoc to my life. Don't talk to me. And I tried to push her away, ignore her, and it just got worse. It got so much worse.
Yeah.
And I know that it is so painful and I know it is so hard and it is so horrible to have to do it. But on the other side of actually facing and learning to be kind to that younger
Mm,
self, oh my goodness, the discharge of anxiety and sort of that internal war, it's
mhm.
so worth it. It's so
It
worth it,
is.
but it is not easy.
It is not it's not easy.
It's
There
not easy.
I love this because I agree. I've been on this journey myself and there's so much goodness on the other side of starting to open up and be with these parts, but the phrase "it is not easy" is an understatement. And I think but, like, literally, Kim, that's why you
Oh,
and I are here doing this work and having support groups for people and having resources for people because we're like, "Y'all, this is not easy, but you know what? I'm gonna be here with you. I'm gonna be here with you because, man, I wish somebody was with me, as I was going through it."
hella yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah, and I will say I did have a great support. I had a lot of support when I was going through it, but I know not everybody does, and so,
Mm,
I that's so beautiful. I'm so glad you said that. And then I want to go back a little bit to the prep because I love what you said about how you prepped and I think it's not that different from the same thing that I do and like help other people with their prep, but I also write things down and I think that this is really important because like you've already kind of said oftentimes when we go into a medical situation and we're in fight or flight or we are in dorsal vagal and
mm,
it almost feels like we can't even speak. Um, we have this piece of paper with these things listed out that we did when we were in a place where our nervous system felt safer. And so along with the paper and just having it, I'll have different nervous system regulating practices because those will fly out the window too, especially if somebody who is listening isn't really used to having a regular practice of straw
mhm.
breath or rocking or shaking or whatever it is that really resonates with you. So I'll have my list of things, I'll have my plan. And I have talked about this a couple times, I think, on other episodes. But when one of my kids went under anesthesia for a procedure, I had my plan as the parent too. I was like, I'm going to do this beforehand. I'm going to do this during. And I went and I circled that building during, because I knew, I was going to be in some sympathetic charge. And I was,
Yeah.
but because I understood, oh, sympathetic charge, it's my nervous system reacting in the right way. There's nothing wrong with me, even though I thought that for many years. Now I know, like, oh, it's my nervous system responding to what feels very dangerous. And it's going into sympathetic charge. What does my body need? And my body needed to move, right? Because
Yep.
that sympathetic charge is meant to move us. So the other thing that I think is really important with prep for everybody listening is to bring somebody you feel safe with, if you have somebody like that in your life. I know not
Yeah.
everybody does, but to have somebody there with you, somebody to hold your hand, or put their hand on your shoulder, somebody there to remember the things that you don't remember because maybe you are really nervous or shut down
Yeah.
and you can't remember them. And then finally, something that I want to share with listeners is, some people will write down a little bit about their history and what it feels like for them to walk into a medical office, and some things that the medical provider might be able to do to help them feel a little bit safer. So that can also help if you are somebody who tends to go mute when you're really scared, to hand
Mhm.
that sheet to your healthcare provider so that they know what's going on and why you're kind of like, oh, I can't say
Ah,
anything. Um,
yeah. And I
yeah.
think you're so bang on. That's something that I do. If if it's a massive one, if it's anything to do with my legs, basically, that's
Yeah.
like huge for me. So
Yeah.
I am very lucky that I normally have support coming with me, but I will actually write down all of the questions that I have for the doctor, like the
Hmm.
night before as part of my prep,
Yeah.
and give it to them and be like, hey, I might not be able to handle this. Can you please just make sure that all of these are answered?
Yeah.
And I'll just talk to them back and forth and be like, hey, I'll tell them about the trauma. I'll tell them about the
Mhm.
situation. We'll talk through what I want to happen, what I think will happen before we
Mhm.
go in the night before. And I think writing down and giving that sheet to medical professionals, I think that's awesome.
Mhm.
I actually need to get it out of my body.
Right.
So what I do is I actually go in and I grab the first nurse that comes to me and I just hold her arms,
Mhm.
which I know in the States might actually get you sued, so don't try it. But like in England and New Zealand, they're okay if you touch them. And I literally just go, hey, I might not be okay with this. And I literally just talk so directly to them. I look into their eyes and I let that panic in a
Mhm.
very controlled way kind of come out, because I need to have that person listen and respond. And once they've done that and I feel like I've grounded to them, I'm like, it's a decompression charge.
Mhm.
I I think the paper for somebody that can't do that, I think is amazing. But the
Mhm.
paper didn't really kind of work for me. I still had
Mhm.
that negative charge inside me.
Mhm.
Um, and I think if you are carrying that, sometimes it's so important to let it out, even if it is just kind of like walking around outside or something
Mhm.
like that. That negative charge needs to be released at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to talk a little bit more about that, because I've been loving your posts that I've seen on Instagram,
Thank you.
of like way experiences you have, right? That are reminders of what of your, some of your traumas that you've experienced. But also I saw the one that you posted about being at the gym,
Yeah.
and there are kind of two parts of this for me. One is movement, obviously, when we've experienced trauma, like, and I know not everybody has the same ability to move as they used to. Some people are chronically ill, and getting up can be really challenging for some people. But when for the listeners who have the capacity to get up and move their bodies, that can be so impactful, and I don't think words can really do it justice. The impact that getting up and moving your body can have on your nervous system state and how you're feeling. But the thing that you shared in your video, though, was about when we have felt so powerless. There's sometimes these things we do to try to feel like we have more control than maybe we really do. And I was wondering if you would talk a little bit about that.
Mm, yeah, so I do love going to the gym, and it is a massive kind of like a getting out of that negative energy that sometimes overwhelms me during the day.
Mhm,
Movement is so important, but it's something that I've kind of always unconsciously known,
mhm,
that what I'm actually like, I do love fitness. I think it's great to be healthy, but my relationship with fitness is
mhm,
questionably whether it is healthy.
mhm,
And I think I always did have an unconscious knowing of like, you're doing this to kind of really feel in control all the time of at least something, because I always felt out of control.
mhm,
Um, and that sort of like, it's not just working out, it's also like my food,
mhm,
and sort of like my perceptions of what I put in my body and what is
mhm.
acceptable and what is not acceptable for me to put in my body.
Yeah.
And this is when it gets unhealthy, is when that
Mhm,
I will work out and reduce my food because my emotional state is like this, and I have got difficult
mhm,
decisions coming up, or I'm scared, or I'm anxious. That's when the balance goes from unhealthy to control.
mhm,
And being simply aware of these patterns that you have, these self-destructive
mhm.
patterns, is the start of kind of being able to not control them again, because it is all about control, but being able to sort of be a bit kinder to yourself and not self-destruct so
Mhm.
much. This is a massive thing for me that I have carried like my whole life, my self-destructive tendencies. So it's something that I work on a lot, and I do not have it down. Um, but yeah, the gym is almost like my drug of
Mhm.
choice, to get that back of control, because I lost all the control. I lost
Yes.
all of the control of the choices that happened to my body, the actual movements of my body. Somebody
Yeah.
from a very young age told me what was happening to my body, told
Mhm.
me what they were going to do with it, and played with me like a Barbie, a broken
Mhm.
Barbie. So my identity, I learned, was a patient who didn't have any control over their body.
Mhm.
So my whole nervous system now is wired to be just like, okay, you're scared. Okay, we need to get control again. And for
Right. What
me,
can we
it's
control?
connected to my body. Yeah, what
Yeah.
can I control? And now it's just like, it's also a image thing, because if I look right and I look strong to the
Mhm.
image, then maybe people can't see the scars. Maybe people
Right.
can't see this vulnerability in me because I'm not
Mhm.
showing it. And it's
Mhm.
that hiding away of what's really going on, because you don't want people to see that, which I know
Yeah.
is probably counter to me being on social media being like, "Hey, this is what's happening." But this is why I'm trying to build more, um just be very, very honest when I'm on social media,
Yeah.
because these are things that I've kept buried that have burnt me internally
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
continue to hurt me. And it's just like, I can't be the only one doing this. Do you know what I
No.
mean?
Oh my gosh. And I
So
think that's why, Kim, that is why, like, it was so impactful to me to see that, and then to see another one that I want to talk a little bit about too. But I really want, I just think it's so important for people listening to hear what you said about how so many of us, myself included, will, when things are feeling a little bit shaky, that's when we're trying to grasp onto something, right? Things are a little shaky. So,
mhm,
whoa, whoa, where can I find stable ground? And so many of us will try to feel this sense of control. Like, oh no, well, it's okay. I can control this. And it looks different for everyone, right? Like I think it's very common for us to want to control like our food intake or our exercise or how our body looks. But there are like so many other ways that can manifest too. And so I just want people listening to hear this because I think sometimes we think we're the only ones, right? And then we start talking about it
Yeah.
and then other people are like, "Oh my gosh, you too, me too, me too." And it just
Mhm.
makes you realize again to go back to that thing phrase of there's actually nothing wrong with me. This is my body responding in a really typical way for what I've been through.
Yeah. And just
Yeah.
kind of letting yourself or not letting yourself be like that, but kind of just being learning to be okay and forgive yourself for being like that.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I spent years just sort of being just like, pull it together, you pussy, like suck
Yeah.
it up. Like, what's the matter with you? Just get on with it. And, just trying to like shake myself out of it. But that
Right.
just kind of pushed it back down and
Yes.
my body reacted to it. You just push it down, it doesn't go anywhere. It just kind of like goes, well, fine, I'll just wait until something tiny happens and then I'll explode. So it's
Yeah, it
yeah.
doesn't go away. I think that that's so crucial for
No.
people to understand too. Like, um, it doesn't go away when you push it down. And you may have seen this before, but and I cannot remember who to credit for saying this. But your body starts out in whispers, and if you don't listen, it will start to scream. And
Mhm.
so, we try to like push it down like, no, 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 this is too much for me. I'm not gonna be able to handle it. But it's just gonna get, like you said, then it's
Oh
ready,
yeah.
right? It's ready to explode when this little thing happens. And that also leads me to another thing that you posted that I was like really impacted by. And that was when you broke the little coffee maker.
Yeah.
Do you want to share that story here? Does that feel okay?
Oh, yeah, yeah, no, that's actually fine. So, yeah. Consciously, I know that this is not a big story, but the impact that it had on me that day because I was not in my top emotional state. I was already
Yeah.
feeling vulnerable, I was already feeling anxious, and
Yeah.
this was kind of like that big event that triggered just everything
Yep.
because I hadn't sort of dealt with stuff. Like I was nervous, I was anxious in the day, and it was a form of distraction. So what happened was I literally just smashed a glass that was in a coffee plunger in a house that I'm sitting. And I contacted the owners and they were like, hey, don't worry about it. And I could not, my body, my mind could not let it go. And it
Mhm.
consumed my day. It
Yeah.
consumed my perception of myself. The guilt just overrode me. And I was just like, no, I have to fix this.
Yeah.
And it just trailed into a 3-hour mission to try and fix this, find exactly the same thing. Like I got obsessed with it
Mhm.
because it made me feel empty inside, like
Mhm.
terrified that somebody was going to see that I messed up,
Mhm.
that I wasn't able to fix something. Um, and the shame spiral kind of just went down and down and down. And 3 hours later, I was kind of coming back up the hill, like pushing my bike, and I was just like, hey, Kim, you, that was a huge distraction because the thing that I was actually really struggling with was something that happened before that broke. But
Yeah.
because it broke, I was like, okay, we need to do this because if I do this and I try and fix this, then maybe it will just deal with the emotional charge that I was having before.
Yeah.
But it didn't. It just wasted the time of my day because I didn't want to face the problem like in
Yeah.
that moment. So I
Yeah.
ran.
Yeah.
Um, and and it was just that realization of just like, this is my trauma brain. I have to
Mhm.
cover something up. I have to not, nobody can see me not being perfect.
Mhm.
It's just like, and I break that, and that means I'm not perfect, and I'm not capable of being a real human being.
Right.
Like, it's such a stupid little thing. And and I know consciously that that was a really, really small thing to happen, and it didn't need to
Mhm.
go that thing. But it all went back to kind of like my sense of worthlessness, not being
Mhm.
capable, not feeling like
Yeah.
a real human being that could take care of themselves, and that I that I was stupid or like clumsy or accident prone. Like, it just confirmed all of these deep rooted fears and perceptions of myself and just brought
Mhm.
them really fast to the surface. And I just lost control, and it just
Yeah.
spiraled.
Yeah, and
Um,
I thank you for sharing that. I know that, like, that's, like, a really personal, vulnerable thing, but I feel like so many other people experience that, and it may not be a broken coffee cup, you know, but I just was so impacted by that because it was so honest, real, and a common thing that so many of us experience. And it's not always because of medical trauma, right? Yours was childhood medical
no,
trauma. Sometimes it's other things, right? Like messages and beliefs that we get about ourselves when we're younger. And I just
yeah,
I just wanted people listening to hear that story because then they see like they're not alone in it, right? Like we're not
no,
alone in having these really big responses sometimes. Like we're just human and we're doing the best that we can. And
mhm,
like you said, to after the fact, as you're pushing your bike up the hill and you're like, whoa, that was a really big response I just had. But to then say, oh my gosh, Kim, you're having a hard time right now versus what a lot of us do. And like you shared that you've done in the past is just to beat ourselves up. Like, oh my God, what an idiot. I cannot believe that I did that. It's like, oh, the more we can actually start to turn toward ourselves with compassion and like
yeah,
understanding, I think is such a crucial piece in the healing of from medical trauma.
yeah, 100%. And I think, just to quickly go back to that reel that I did make on that,
Yeah.
that a negative charge that I told you about that I need to release, that video I made like instantly when I got in. So I had that
Oh,
realization,
wow.
and I was still carrying that emotional charge in me. And
Yeah.
I knew that if I didn't let it out, that self hatred, that bullying, that punishment spiral that I
Ugh.
would go into, I risked that kind of coming on. I could feel it kind of coming on because I
Yeah.
felt that negative energy, which is
Yeah.
why the video was like, okay, we need to do this. I need to get this out. And that, and I, it's, it's something that I've really had to train myself to do. Let it
Mhm.
out.
Yeah.
And I just want people to hear that. Let it out, which is why I do
Yeah.
boxing and stuff like that. Don't be ashamed of the negative energy. Just find a way to get it out that works for you.
Mhm. Yeah, so for some people that might be writing, like, we've talked about this
Oh,
in
yeah.
my peer group is, oftentimes we can sit down and start writing and, maybe like literally you're so mad, you're like scratching at the pages, sharing
Mhm.
from personal experience. But you keep going through that process, if you can. Sometimes when we're early in this journey, it feels a little bit unmanageable because we're not used to being with these feelings. But writing, physical activity, like you said, finding something that your body is able to do. Boxing sounds amazing. Like I feel like I should do that.
It is
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. I It's something that I've learned from somebody that has that kind of, PTSD and really intense
Hmm.
trauma on their
Hmm.
bodies is there's a lot of messaging out there. It's just like meditate more, stay still, like be
Hmm.
still with your emotions. And I just want to be really clear that that is not easy when you have medical trauma. If you try and do that, you will feel like you are going to get attacked. And you,
Well,
my ability to be able to meditate and sit still with myself has been like, I will do a minute, then 2
Mhm.
minutes. It is a
Mhm.
long training thing. So if you are struggling to meditate, don't beat yourself up about it, but just keep trying, even if it's just a minute a day to just sit with yourself and remind yourself that you're safe, or just be with yourself, because it
Mhm.
does really, really help. And I ran away from that for so long, being like, nope, not going to help. I'm too scared. But a lot of people that I found in yoga studios, when it gets to that point, when we lie down and we be with ourselves, they'll check out, they'll leave. And I've spoken to a lot of ladies that's just like, "No, I just don't like it." And I'm like, "Okay,
Mhm.
this is why I didn't used to like it." And it's been a really interesting process to hear them be like, "Oh, yeah, quite possibly." So, I
Mhm.
like, just forgive yourself if you can't do it. That's yeah.
Yeah, yes, I think a lot about the nervous system. That's like a big part of just how I approach the world. And when we feel like we're in danger, our bodies need to acknowledge the danger. We need to do something about the danger. Um, so the while I am a fan, I'm actually a yoga teacher. I'm a fan of meditation and yoga. I haven't always been. I didn't do yoga for most of my life because it was too slow and I needed to move.
Yeah.
But like some in some meditation, they're like, "Oh, just ignore everything, just focus inside." It's like actually our bodies, we are animals and we have nervous systems that are there to keep us safe. And so if I'm sitting with my eyes closed and I hear a noise, I will open my eyes and I will look at what the noise is, because that is honoring my body. It's honoring my nervous system and saying,
Mhm,
yes, of course you need to know what's going on. It makes a lot of sense. It's how we keep ourselves safe as animals. But
mhm.
to go back to what you said about yoga, I remember trying to go in my 20s, and it was just like it was torture. It was
Oh,
torture.
oh,
Having to sit still and, like, be quiet, but through through the years and years I've done of working through my own early trauma, I now have the capacity to slow down and be still with myself. But I will tell you, I also will be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be by the door because I might get up and leave if I need to." So I have very
yeah.
different, you know, uh social rules for myself now in my 40s than I did in my 20s, where I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have dreamed of leaving because I might disturb someone. And now I'm like, no, I'll be by the door. And if I need to leave, I'm going to leave and I'll see my friend after class when class is over. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
so much of this work and being with people is like normalizing the human parts of us and the parts of us that are like, today is not the day for me to be doing
yes.
slow yoga. This is a day for me to stand up and leave this room and go walk around because you know what? I feel
Yeah.
pretty anxious today, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I think that's the huge thing are that I just keep wanting people to hear is just like,
Mhm.
give yourself permission to be human. Give
Yes.
yourself permission to be human.
Yes.
Stop worrying about what people might think or say. If those people are just random people in a like yoga studio, who cares? Who cares
Right.
what they think? You want to sit there for an hour feeling like you're about to be attacked by a bear just because the lady next to you is like, oh, I just want to be zen. Screw
Mhm,
her. Get out of
mhm.
there. And it's just giving yourself permission to be who you are and know that you're not broken. You
Right.
just might need to run your life a little bit different from the lady next to you in their yoga pants. And
Exactly.
it's something that it's been a hard road to learn, but
Mhm,
once you learn that and just be like, "Hey, this is me," that
mhm.
anxiety, that charge that kinda hangs over sometimes, it's a lot easier to kinda navigate and sort of be like, "Okay, what are we feeling today? Okay, like, today's not the day for this. So what can I do
Right.
instead? What can I do
Yes.
instead to still make sure that by the end of the day, I still feel proud of myself?" Doesn't have to be what you
Yeah.
planned, just just what
absolutely.
you
And
need.
there are also some days for rest, right? There are days where, yeah, we
Mhm,
wanted to go and we wanted to go work our bodies out and get release some of that energy. But you know what? Some days you wake up and you're like, I don't have the energy to do that. And so
mhm.
we're just it's starting to actually like really build connection and relationship with your body. So you're listening to that and you're making
Oh, yeah.
choices based on like what does my body need today?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just to quickly, like, put something to that exact point
Mhm.
is once you've had medical trauma and or surgical trauma, that relationship between your mind and your body, that is what gets severed when you're put
Mm.
under anesthesia and you go
Yeah.
through this intense trauma.
Mhm.
And that is something that I teach is how to reconnect that relationship because that
Mhm.
is the key. That is the key for moving forwards from this is coming home to your body and
Yes.
learning how to become mind and body and soul, not just, okay, we're just going to do this. It's, you got to stop fighting and actually start listening to yourself. It's
Yes.
literally the magic behind letting go of that uncomfortable feeling, coming home to yourself, getting your confidence back, liking who you see in the mirror. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a game changer, but it's
That's
horrible and it's really difficult.
it really is,
It
but
is a
it's
game
so
changer.
it is it's so funny, like, you and I this is why I love talking to you. The name of my community is Befriend Your Body.
Yeah, it's
For
literally
this
like,
exact reason, you and I both,
yeah,
through our own lived journeys, have both found this piece, this key, and it is that building that relationship with the body again. And I have to tell you, I saw, and I wish I could find it, the one of the greatest videos I've seen that kind of explains what happens when we've experienced medical trauma, sometimes other forms of trauma too, is because the body no longer feels safe, we're kind of like hanging out here. And it was a drone with like a paper mache head. And so it was just a head flying around. And it was like, um, when you ask your clients, like as a therapist, when a therapist asks their clients, where do they feel it in their body? And it's just this head flying around that has like no body at all. And I
yeah,
just thought, oh my gosh, what a perfect way to describe how it feels when that relationship has been severed. And I know that so
oh yeah.
well in my own body and spent a majority of my life living just here.
Oh
And
yeah.
so yeah, so I know it so deeply. I think a lot of people listening know it so deeply. Clearly, you know it so deeply, and it's why I think we're both here today because we understand the difference it is to live when you actually have rebuilt that connection with your body.
100%. And it's also just stressing the fact of like, this does not have to be your new normal. That
Yeah,
disconnection,
yeah,
that lack of self worth, that just hopelessness feeling after
yeah,
surgery. Yes, surgery is a normalized thing, but that emotional stress and that distance from yourself and that lack of
mhm,
confidence and that shying away from life, that's not normal. And you should
yeah,
not put up with it. You
yeah,
should not put up with it. It like that's why I started this because I came across so many women that were not shells of their former selves, but just so delicate in their own skin because of this massive
mhm,
trauma that they're like, I can't
yeah,
talk about it. Everybody goes through this. Like, why, I just got to suck it up
yeah,
and get on with it. And I'm like,
yeah.
no, that's exactly what you don't do. I did it for too long. Don't do it, people.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So yeah.
That lived wisdom is so powerful. And I ask people at the end of each one of these podcast episodes to share a little nugget of wisdom. I feel like you just shared a nugget of wisdom that was so
Yes, I have.
powerful. But I do want to also give you opportunity if there's anything else that you wanted to leave the audience with, any kind of little piece of wisdom, hard earned wisdom that
Yeah.
you have.
It would be you are so worthy of life and you would not be on this planet when there was trillions and trillions and trillions of other chances that you were not born.
Mhm.
The reason that you are here is for a purpose and because you are worthy of this life.
Mhm.
I spent years feeling completely unworthy of being a human on this planet because of the trauma that I was carrying, and relearning to just see yourself as a worthy human being to be here.
Mhm.
It's so important. And I just want everybody to hear that if you are feeling unworthy of being here, look at your past, look at this trauma, see these little intricacies, and just know that, have that hope that there is a way through. There are practices, there are ways through. You are
Mhm.
not alone. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's beautiful and so true. It is magic that each one of us is here on this earth. Like you said, there are a million ways it could have been different, but we're here and it is magic that each one of us is here in this moment. And along those lines, we didn't talk a lot about community, but I think community is such a crucial piece of that too, especially when you're people are struggling and they aren't feeling worthy and they're questioning, like, what happened?
yeah,
Why am I feeling this way? There is support and there is community. And I'm curious if you can share ways that people could get in contact with you if they're looking to learn more about your courses that you offer and community
yeah,
that you have.
yeah. So yep, you can reach out to me at Scott and Fabulous. I supply a 6-week course for women that they can do it DIY at home. They can also contact me and we can do it together.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just a wonderful sort of 6 weeks, kind of like get you started on this healing
Mm-hmm.
journey. I also have the healing lounge, which is where we all gather and just sort of share tips and share things that really resonated with us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I think that one of the scariest things is that first conversation of like, "Hey, I am not okay." Especially
Mm-hmm.
when your family and everything are just like, "Hey, it's just early days," or, "Oh, but you're doing so much better." And it's that
Yeah.
dismissal, and it's just like having a space where you can be around other women that are just like, "Oh my goodness, you feel like that too. Oh my goodness." And
Yes.
having that back and forth is just like, oh, okay. And that relief on you. So community is massive. So we have the healing
Yeah.
lounge, and I will drop all my links for your listeners. I have also just written a book, people. So, and
Yay.
I'm looking for people to be on my launch team. So they will get a pre manuscript. It's just for testimonials. So if anybody does kind of want to learn a bit more about my story, it has healing tools written throughout it. And I will drop that link for you as well. But yeah, it's
Yes.
all about
Amazing.
resources and learning how you can best regulate and help yourself heal as well as coming to the
Yeah.
community, but take it slow. Like,
Yes.
whatever you need, we can find what you need in that moment. If you're not
Mm-hmm.
ready to talk, if you're not ready to open up, if you just want a little bit of gentle, I just want to find out this a bit more at home in my safe space,
Mhm,
that's cool.
mhm,
I have those resources for you because I know I was that
mhm.
person once and
Yeah,
I couldn't talk about it.
yeah,
So, literally reach out, drop me a message, and let's just see how we can sort of reach you where you are right now.
yeah. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, Kim, and being vulnerable and sharing so much.
No problem. It's been really nice. It's been great.
Thank you so much for joining me for this conversation today. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to follow or subscribe to the Medical Trauma Support Podcast. It really helps more people find these stories and know that they're not alone. And if you're looking for a place to connect with others who understand what it's like to live with and heal from medical trauma, I invite you to check out the Befriend Your Body community. It's a supportive space where we explore somatic practices, nervous system education, and peer connection to help you feel safe in your body again. You can learn more and join us at medicaltraumasupport.com. Thank you for listening.